Hi, I'm Tirsa Grandin, and I'm doing a lesson for Alea to teach her how to crochet an Afghan. Um, for cognitive domain, I will use her past knowledge about sunflowers and what they look like, along with her little knowledge of crocheting. That for my herd, she's done a little bit of that. For her affective domain, she will feel pride when she completes a stitch, or the square, or the entire Afghan. For her psychomotor domain, she will be learning the physical skills of what your hands do when creating the stitches. For her trait anxiety, I believe that she would have a very low trait anxiety. For state anxiety, she will have lots at first because she doesn't know me or my house and it's new to her. Debilitating anxiety. I will watch throughout the lesson to see if there's any debilitating anxiety shown, but I don't think there will be. Um, Facilitating anxiety. I will watch to see if there is any facilitating anxiety throughout the lesson. There could be some when the semester comes to an end and she hasn't completed the Afghan. Defining features or characteristics. I will show her that in her Afghan, or I will show her that an Afghan is a blanket. The square that we are using will be made in certain colors, yellow, brown, and green, and certain stitches. For correlation features and characteristics, I will show her that some Afghans are not made with squares, like my Afghan in the advertisement, and that squares can be used with different colors and with different patterns. A prototype, I will use the sunflower squares that I have already done to show her what a square should look like when she finished one. Misconceptions, I will show her that not only old people do crocheting, but that younger people can do it too. An overgeneralization about crocheting is that old people are the only ones that can do crocheting, and an undergeneralization is that old grandmas are the only ones who do crocheting. For my physical arrangement, during the lesson we will be sitting on a couch, and I will be facing her most of the time. The physical climate, the climate will be inviting. Nothing will be on that could distract her in any way. Cueing, the way that I will be cueing is when I give her the hook and the yarn and tell her to follow my movements for each stitch. Informal and control language, I will look for ways in the lesson where either I use information or control language. Visualization, I will keep an example of the square in front of us during the lesson. Simplified memory system. She will be using this to put all of the stitches into her long-term memory. Sensory register. Her sensory register will be working hard when she first comes to the house and when we start learning about the stitches for the squares. Her working and short-term memory. She will be using this when she is learning each of the stitches, putting it into her long-term memory. And then her long-term memory, she will be using this to store all the stitches that she has learned for the square. Her schema, there will be a page that I will use to help visualize the stitches and to show Alea how each stitch is made. Intrinsic motivation is by completing the Afghan by herself. Extrinsic motivation is having something to keep her warm during the winter. Anxiety, Alea doesn't know me that well or my house and may have a little anxiety about being in a new place. Her self-efficacy, I will ask her how well she thinks that she can create a square without my help once we've gone over a couple squares together. Her self-concept, I will ask her, do you think you're good at crocheting during the lesson? Her self-esteem, I will ask her how well she thinks she can create a square without my help. Attribution theory, when she completes a square or the entire Afghan, she may attribute her success to herself. She will also see that it is an effort that she made. She will also think that when she is doing the squares, she has a choice and her actions and outcomes are controllable. Hot cognition, I will tell her that making an Afghan will help her keep her warm in the winter so that she doesn't die. Self-regulation, I will be looking during the lesson if she does a stitch without me telling her or showing her. Imaginary audience, this is not going to be in the lesson, but it is where someone believes that there are many people watching them when they are doing something. Personal theory is also not going to be in the lesson, but it is when a person comes up with a way that things work in the world. Personal fable is still not going to be in the lesson, but it is when a child believes that they are special and nothing hard will ever happen to them. Vygotsky, he was the guy who created the zone of proximal development. And in the zone of proximal development, Alea is in the part where she could do a square but with help. She's not sure if she can do it without help, but she knows that she can do it with help. Assimilation. Once she has done a couple of the squares by herself, she should be able to do one on her own. Accommodation. If she is not understanding how or where each of the stitches go, I may need to change and help her finish the square and complete the afghan. Piaget developed a developmental theory based on the idea that children actively construct knowledge as they explore and manipulate the world around them. Alea, in this cognitive stage, is in the concrete operational stage. This is where she's more aware of the external events as well as feelings as other people's feelings other than her own. Erik Erikson's stages. Alea is in the industry and inferiority stage. She might start. She's starting to recognize her talents and develop them more. In Kohlberg's stages of the moral development, she is in the conventional stage. She is starting to internalize the moral standards of adults around her. Behaviorism. This will not be in the lesson, but it is an approach to understand the behavior of human and other animals. Myelination. Doing the stitches over and over again will help her myelinate the process of getting the stitches down and perfecting them.